All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Main Event Status Sports Show. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. This show, of course, is brought to you live on Haps News. The Baltimore Ravens get it done. They defeated those Dallas Cowboys. This is the in all the matchups, for those who do not know, the Ravens have only lost to the Cowboys one time. That, of course, was that magical year that Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott had their rookie year. Ravens went down to Dallas and they got beat on by the Cowboys that time, but it didn't happen tonight. The Ravens had a very important game. This was a must-win game for them, and they played like it. You know, when you look at that game tonight, you saw that they were invested and they knew they had to get it done. Lamar Jackson. Let's go right here. I'm going to show y'all his touchdown in case you missed it, which I'm pretty sure if you watched the game, you saw it. 4th and 2. He waved the special teams off the field, goes right up the middle, and he's gone. And right here, I'm like, no, don't start celebrating because they a little close, and you ain't been back. You ain't have your swag back just yet. So I was like, no, don't do that. Ain't no time for celebrations. But he also later on, he would find Hollywood Brown. You know, you'll see right here, Lamar Jackson, he just drops back. This is in the third quarter, and then boom, throws a perfect pass right in the basket. Hollywood Brown making that reception. And, you know, there's always been this talk ever since Hollywood said, you know, they don't use their soldiers. They don't use their soldiers. Well, certainly they used him tonight. Another touchdown Lamar Jackson had was to Miles Boykin. This was, of course, earlier. Hey, I did it out of whack, but I'm out of order. But guess what? It don't matter. You know, he overthrows Boykin, but Boykin was able to hold on and almost stumble his way into the end zone. So that was a big play. And then, of course, earlier you had Patrick Queen, the rookie, getting a key interception. This is, of course, the one that led to the touchdown. Right here, you'll see him, boom, makes the catch. And that will lead to the touchdown. You know, Lamar Jackson did throw interception earlier. And, you know, there was a lot going on. But earlier today, before the game started, we did see Dez Bryant. If you did not know, he tested positive for COVID-19. So, unfortunately, I don't like the way this was handled. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like the way this was handled at all. Dez was able to go out there and, he was able to go out there and practice when a test that was like inconclusive. I think he should have been held away from everybody while they waited. And then when they checked it, he got retested or whatever, boom, they found out he was positive. So that was a dangerous move. Shout out to, let's go to the chat. Shout out to Peter, checking in from Seattle. Thanks for the High Five Award, Peter. Shout out to Pablo from LA. Say he walked that in. I'm assuming talking about the touchdown earlier. Mike Patton from Nashville says Lamar looked Lamar's tonight, and he certainly did. Said Dez is going to be back. It was handled funny for sure. I got some tweets I'm gonna put on the screen. But yeah, it was definitely handled. I didn't like the way it was handled. Right here, let's see if these pop up. If they all pop on the screen, let me take myself off, and then boom, you'll see some of Dez's tweets where he just talks about how he had tested positive, and he was sad. He was in his emotions, and everybody knows Dez Bryant can be very emotional. So this isn't anything new if you watch it. Shout out to Amanda Miller, K Patrick. K Patrick said, I'm still here. Yeah, I know. This is on Facebook. Y'all download the Haps News app. Here's the thing, right? Ravens get the win, and then yesterday the Steelers lost. Here's the crazy thing about it, folks. The crazy thing, next week, if the Steelers go ahead and beat the Bills next week, they're still in the driver's seat for the division. The Ravens could hand the Steelers the division if they beat the Browns on Monday night. By the time Monday night gets here, they will know what the status will be. So that's going to be interesting. But back to Dez Bryant. He also tweeted that he later tweeted that he was coming back. Somebody said, Dez, tell us you're coming back. He said, I'm coming back. I'm being smart. So like I said, I do think he was in his emotions. And Mike Patton says it right here on Haps that he isn't going to retire for the rest of the season. Like he said, in frustration. Yeah, I don't see him retiring at all. Like I said, I just think Dez was just in his emotions. And then right here you can see that he was still supporting the team as during that touchdown pass from Lamar Jackson to Hollywood Brown. Dez would go ahead and tweet, Hollywood, that's Action Jackson. So he's definitely showing his support. You got to feel bad for him. No, if you like me, and at one point you was a Cowboys fan, Dez was one of my favorite players. The thing that I feel bad for him is I'm like, man, here's a guy who sat up there and he went out there, he played his hardest, right? And unfortunately, a lot of times it was misunderstood. Cowboys let him go. Then he signs with the Saints, and then right before they're doing practice, he tears his ACL. He's out for the season, right? Then comes to the Ravens, has to prove himself. He practice squad activated, not activated, gets a couple of catches during the season. Then there's a couple of games he doesn't even get any looks. And now this was supposed to be his Super Bowl, the time he was going to get a chance to shine. And you look at the way this game was, you got to believe that Lamar was going to get the ball to Dez at least a couple of times. And one thing I will say, I'm disappointed that nobody threw up the X for the Ravens. I will say, I'm a little disappointed that nobody did that. But, let's talk about some of these stats, man, because it was a great game. 294 yards for the Ravens. 294 yards. Let me make sure I put that on y'all screen so that y'all can see. 294 yards on this. Lamar Jackson, 3 touchdowns, 2 of them passing, 1 was ran in, as you saw. But Gus Edwards, Gus the Bus, 101 yards by himself. 101 yards by himself. I was looking at the stats. So just listen to this. J.K. Dobbins, the rookie, 71 yards. And, his fellow Ohio State, Buckeye on the other side, Ezekiel Elliott, he had 77 yards. But Dobbins, 6.5 yards a carry. Gus, only 7 carries, 101 yards. 14.4 yards per carry. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, 94 rushing yards, 7.2 yards per carry. Mark Ingram, only 6 rushes for 28 yards, but still 4.7 yards per carry. For the Ravens, 37 times they carried the ball, 294 yards. The longest run was Lamar's 37-yard touchdown, and 7.9. So they absolutely destroyed the Dallas Cowboys. Lamar was able to target Hollywood Brown 8 times. He only got 5 receptions, unfortunately for him. But he did have the touchdown. I feel like this, and I'm being honest with you. When you look at the game tonight, I feel like the Ravens did exactly what they had to do. Thanks. Shout out to Danny jumping in, Danny Thompson jumping in the chat. And thanks for the high 5 award, Danny. I appreciate that. Make sure y'all follow him and check out his shows as well. I feel like this was the game the Ravens needed, and this is going to be that turnaround. They do have their backs against the wall. At 7-5, they have their backs against the wall. But Lamar Jackson, folks, if you may not know, if you haven't been paying attention, Lamar Jackson is undefeated in the month of December. Now, we all know he didn't play week 17 last year, but the year before that, the Ravens needed to win out to win the division. They don't need to win out. They're not going to win the division this year. That's true. But if they win out, you also have some head-to-head matchups that could go in their favor. So teams like the Browns will probably get in, but a team like the Colts or the Titans could find their way out. So there's still hope if the Ravens go ahead and win out. They got the Browns. That's honestly the toughest matchup next week, Monday Night Football in Cleveland. There won't be any fans, but it's going to be a key matchup for the Ravens. They got to go in there and win that, right? The thing, if you're watching, though, the thing that's scary is the Ravens pass defense. There was a lot of pass and catches. A lot of passing catches that shouldn't have happened that Dallas was able to get. So Baker Mayfield is better than Andy Dalton at this point. Jarvis Landry is better than all the Cowboys receivers. I don't care what y'all say. He's better than all the Cowboys receivers. So, and he's destroyed them before. They came here to Baltimore last year and destroyed the Ravens. So the rush defense, that's going to be important. Yeah, Zeke only has 77 yards, but Cleveland has a better offensive line than the Ravens. So this is going to be another tough matchup. They lost 3 straight, so they snapped a 3-game losing streak, thank goodness. But this could be the turnaround that everybody was looking for. With that, they got the Jaguars. That could be a trap game, but I don't see them losing. That's right here in Baltimore. Then they got the Giants in Baltimore the following week, 2 days after Christmas. And then the last game of the season, they go to Cincinnati. So they should win these 3, and then they should be the Cleveland Browns. I think they will be Cleveland. I feel like, Lamar Jackson, he looked like he had fun tonight. And that's one of the things that I kept saying. I said, Lamar does not look like he's having fun. I feel like he looked like he was having fun tonight. And, just the way and his instincts, right? So if you look at this play right here, let's take a look at this. Early in the season, I'm pretty sure this was called, right? Because you could tell he goes right for the run. But early in the season, it looked like he was just hesitant, like, okay, I'll run. Tonight, a lot of his runs, the play will break down, boom, he take off. And it's the little things like that makes me confident that he's having fun again. You look at those games, right? And I want y'all to go back. We can go back to the Bengals game, honestly. The Bengals game, he did not look like he was having fun. They won 27-3, and I heard at that time, unfortunately, one of his friends was tragically killed. But then you go to the Eagles game. The Eagles game, it looked like it was one way, but then it started to become a struggle. The Steelers game, no, he didn't look like he was having fun at all. He turned the ball over 3 times, and they only lost by 4 points. They still had a chance to win it, but you could see that's where it just wasn't fun to him. The Colts game, there was 2 different teams. Then the Patriots game in the rain and everything, same thing. Then we know the Titans game, they didn't want it. And then obviously finishing off with the Steelers game last week, he did not play. But like I said, tonight, Lamar Jackson looked like vintage Lamar Jackson, in the words of WWE announcer Michael Cole. And I told Ashley Baker, shout out to Ashley Baker, the host of A&B Sports, one of my media maven, millennial media maven teammates. I told her on her show, I said the Ravens are gonna win this 38 to I had 38-10. Clearly I was wrong, but guess what? They put up 34 points. It was 34-17. And the 17th point was honestly garbage. But I did think Ravens, I figured they would win this game. I actually had Lamar Jackson getting 5 touchdowns, but he only got 3. But the thing is, I said, if they go out there, they have fun, they should win this one. And that's what they did. Dallas is just a bad team when it comes to stopping the run. I've never seen nothing like that before. They couldn't do anything with them. And you would think, as good as their rush offense is, they would be able to do something, but they wasn't. Mike Patton says, big question, is the Ravens offense being better or them facing a bad Cowboys defense? Here's the thing. When you're having a struggle this season, you need that game to kind of pick you up and get you where you need to get to. And that's exactly what this was. They needed a game like this to kind of like help their confidence and help them kind of gel. It's like practice. No disrespect. I know the NFL, but they needed that. When you look at that, that's why I'm confident that the Ravens can win this game, right? I'm confident, that their offense is better. It's not exactly what it was. Mike Patton said a couple weeks ago, right here, he said it. Greg Roman's offense is predictable. And then what happens tonight? Former Raven, Steve Smith Sr. goes out there and said it. He said, Greg Roman, he showed the Greg Roman's formations, the same way he used in San Francisco in 2012, 2013, in 2015 with the Buffalo Bills, and now using it with the Ravens, said teams are catching up. He said, I'm doing this on Surface. They got better technology and better iPads and stuff to figure this out. And that's where Greg Roman is going to have to change. You saw some of that tonight. It's just that Dallas couldn't keep up. I do think, Lamar obviously has to work on his throwing, and, we don't know what COVID-19 did to him. There's so many different effects that people don't take into consideration. There's brain fog, there is obviously the respiratory issue. So we don't know. Yeah, he could have been asymptomatic, could have had a mild case, but we don't know what it did to him neurologically. And that's what people don't understand. So I think that these games coming up, they will change. I mean, they will get better acclimated. But if the Ravens going to go make a run, if they're going to win the Super Bowl, Mike says the Ravens aren't changing, but they're going to have to. Something's going to have to give. In 2012, the reason why something gave, because Cam Cameron was fired because his offense became too predictable. They wasn't using their weapons in Joe Flacco, Ray Rice, Bernard Pierce, Jacoby Jones, Anquan Bolden, Torrey Smith, Dennis Pitta. They wasn't using them at their full capacity, and they said the changes had to be made, and that's exactly what happened. Changes were made, so even if they're gonna have to figure something out. So if you haven't done so, go ahead, download the Haps app. Follow me there. As you can see, Facebook is cool, Twitter is cool, but you see right here, I'm able to bring stuff right in the chat. Somebody says, "Oh, is a Sasspor champs? You're out of your mind about Landry." I guess we saying that Landry's better than Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. The way he's been playing, the way that him and Baker have been playing, they do look better. They look much better. So I do think that the Cleveland Browns will be a tough matchup, but the Ravens, this is a division game. So as much as people may believe in the Cleveland Browns, you also got to look at what the Ravens bring to the table. They lost to Pittsburgh twice. The last thing they want to do is lose to the Browns when they're fighting for a playoff spot, especially consider a few years ago it was the Bengals that kept them out of the playoffs. So these division games always get ugly. They will play the Cincinnati Bengals in week 17. We do know they're they're playing with a backup quarterback. That does not mean nothing if it comes down to it for the Ravens. That game will be important. But for me, the way Lamar Jackson looked tonight, it's hard to bet against him not being in the playoffs this year. So only time will tell. We got Cameron Sahagi. Please forgive me, I mispronounced your name. Impressive Ravens win. I think the Patriots can find a way to get in not too late. They can, it's Bill Belichick, and you said, how do I see the playoffs? Let me see if I can find a playoff. Let me see if I can find a playoff with a bracket, and I can give you a better accurate prediction. But I do think I'll pull up the standings. I do think the Patriots do find a way to get in, unfortunately. Like I said, Bill Belichick. So let's just look at it for what it is. All right, Patriots are 6-6. The Ravens are 7-5. So maybe I actually, the most responsible thing to do would be to look at their remaining schedule, because you got the Dolphins who have an opportunity. Oh, here we go. Playoff. But you do have the Dolphins ahead of the Patriots, which is something that's strange, I think. And the Dolphins could win that division, So what is it? The first 6 teams? Okay, so obviously, I think we lock in the Steelers and the Chiefs, even though I do think the Chiefs will overcome the Steelers, because I got the Steelers losing to the Browns, and they could very well lose to the Bills. This is a game for the Bills that's a measuring stick that we will find out how good they are if they can beat the Steelers. So I got the Bills winning that, though. The Titans and the Colts, they're going to go back and forth. Obviously, the Titans have the tiebreaker, but I think the Titans will win this one. Looking at the Patriots' remaining schedule, I don't think they get in. I think they lose. I think they might go 2-2 out of. Actually, you know what? So in 2 days they play the Rams. I got them losing that one. Right, the Rams are a different team than they were last year. They lost to the Dolphins earlier. No, they beat the Dolphins earlier this year. They go to the Dolphins. They're gonna win. They're gonna lose that one. And I got them losing to the Bills, and they'll beat the Jets. So I think that the Patriots don't get in. I know you can't count out Bill Belichick and Cam Newton, but I just don't have them getting in. I got the Ravens overcoming. They own the tiebreaker against the Colts. So if they can find, if the Colts start losing, the Ravens can overcome them. And and it'll come down to the Dolphins. But I do think the Ravens will overcome them. So I'll put it like this. In there, I think you'll have the Steelers, the Chiefs is number one, the Steelers is number two. Actually, no, I'm gonna go with the Bills as number two. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills. Chiefs, Bills, Steelers, Browns, Titans, Ravens. That's how I think we go with the playoffs this year. So Miami will collapse because their schedule is too tough at the end. All right, Tennessee does have an easier schedule. But I think Miami will beat the Patriots, and that's going to be an important matchup. And like I said, I don't have all the schedules up here because so many teams. But let's see how fast this computer moves today. It looks like it's on good behavior. But yeah, I don't have all the schedules. Feel free to drop in if you know who they're playing. I can definitely, I'll definitely read it out. But as I pull up the Dolphins schedule right now, let me see that. Okay, they got the Chiefs coming up, so they'll lose that game. I don't see them winning. But they got the Chiefs, they got the Patriots. Like I said, I got them winning that game. They'll play the Raiders and the Bills. So definitely have a tough matchup. So what are they? 8-4. I got them winning one out of the next three. That puts them at 9-7. So yeah, I have them out. And then who else? Yeah, so Damian Harris is going to run all over Miami. Absolutely, absolutely. These last few games are going to be interesting, but I think Buffalo's going to run away with that division, certainly. So, but I do think, like I said, I think the Ravens come back. I think they do finish off at number 2 in the AFC North. So we shall see. But folks, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. As always, I appreciate you listening. Feel free to sponsor the show. I finally decided to throw a name on it, and if you missed it at the beginning, this is now called the Main Event Status Sports Show. So yeah, I threw the name on there. Why? Because that's my new PlayStation username, Main Event Status. So if you're on PS5, follow me at Main Event Status. Cameron, thank you for joining on here today. I really appreciate all the support. So make sure y'all subscribe. I'll be back later this week. We'll talk some more football. I'll probably do a prediction show beforehand. And then you obviously know NBA season is coming up. So I'll definitely be talking some NBA. But before we go, I want to make sure I make a suggestion to EA Sports, and that is please stay away from Baltimore. Please. We got Ray Lewis and Lamar Jackson are perhaps I'm not going to say the top two. I'll say this, the top two most marketable players. No disrespect to Ed Reed, but I think Lamar Jackson's overcame him. Look, no more. We don't want any more Madden covers. Can you please put number 19 from the Pittsburgh Steelers on there, or put Baker Mayfield on the cover next year? That's it. That's all. Just put one of them. But no more Madden covers. I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh doesn't want any more either, as they had Antonio Brown. We obviously know how that went. And then they also had Troy Polamalu, and we know how that went. So I don't see the Pittsburgh franchise putting somebody else on the cover. Put Derrick Henry on there. I know Vince Young, Eddie George, probably won't happen again. But yeah, put somebody from there. Tom Brady came close. You know, we could put him on the cover. But no, I know they won't do that. It's too soon. But let me know. Tweet me at Brian H. Waters. Make sure y'all follow me right here on Haps. Let me know who y'all think will be on the Madden cover, because my vote would be Baker Mayfield. But till next time, folks, I'm Brian H. Waters. So long, everybody. He said no.